You're rapping with Sister Phoenix, recipes of resurrection. I'm trying to hold the camera still so that I can talk to you about what happens when your family takes your ex's side. When you're separating or when you're getting divorced and your family is actually simpatico with your ex, or maybe has taken a step further and is taking the side of your ex against you in the divorce situation. What to do and how to handle it. I mean, really, there's not much to do, so to speak. It's not an action. It's a position. It's a state of being. So, assuming, of course, that you haven't acted against your own conscience, that you haven't done something harmful to somebody else, or if you have, that you've taken the steps to take responsibility for it and clean up whatever kind of trauma or mess that you are responsible for, or heal whatever you can heal with other people. But assuming that that's not the case, assuming that you are somebody who's acted in good faith, you're somebody who's acted with care and consciousness, and your family has been duped, has believed some lies from your ex, or has believed their state of being. I mean, this might happen with narcissists, for example. They're really good at being charming, really good at seeming innocent, or maybe playing the victim, turning things around on you. A classic move from a narcissist is accusing you of all the things that they did. And in fact, little side note, it's usually confessional, right? Because if they've accused you of something and they have narcissistic tendencies, chances are they probably did it themselves and are projecting that onto you. But assuming that your family has gotten duped, number one, don't react. Don't react. When you are engaging in that kind of a situation where it's his word against her word, your word against theirs, kind of tit for tat, trying to convince people, you're already in a losing dynamic. This is the spiral downward, so to speak. You're not going to spiral up from here by convincing or arguing or pleading or getting angry. This is a situation where people are reduced to a lower state, a lower state of consciousness. It's like, don't go down to their level. Well, this is kind of, taking it a step beyond that and saying, hey, don't allow the level to keep going down, because it can get worse. It can decline from there. You don't want to be in a situation where you're causing permanent rifts from your family, or allowing them to cause permanent rifts. So what you want to do is take a step back from this situation, get out of a state of reactivity, and step into a place of power, meaning that whatever your family believes about you is not who you are. Whatever your ex is saying about you is not who you are. And whatever people have chosen to believe about you, whether it's your family or your friends, is not who you are. So reclaiming that state, just because they believe this is true doesn't mean that I identify with that or that's who I am. Another thing is allowing for some space to not be reactive. It's very painful. It can be very painful, very shocking when, people who are meant to be faithful or loyal to you, or people who have known you your whole life, are susceptible to this kind of lie, this kind of belief. It can be really shocking. It can be really hurtful. But this brings me to point number 2, which is that there are very few people, I'm sad to say, but very few people on this planet who are truly discerning. Meaning that they're not letting their own noise or their own doubts or their own fears get caught in the story. So, maybe the fact that you're even divorcing is problematic for your family members. Maybe they are traditional, or maybe they're religious, or maybe they really bought into the story of your happy marriage, or whatever beliefs are holding them tied to the story of your marriage are then going to want to associate you with the destruction of your marriage or the destruction of their belief. So this is a situation where their own fears, their own insecurities, or their own lack of sight and clarity is really being projected and clouding their vision of you, being projected onto you. So it's not about, you or what you're doing or who you are, but it's kind of like you've enabled the trigger to destroy one of their beliefs that they were holding very dear. And so when you take that rejection of your family or the choosing of your family, of your ex from your family, personally, you take it personally, as, many of us would. Of course, it's your family. It's the people that are nearest and dearest to you. Taking that personally would be perhaps short-sighted, because most people on this planet are going around with a lot of, stuck beliefs, false beliefs, a lot of fears around the word divorce, a lot of fears around, families disintegrating, or roles, men and women roles or family roles disintegrating. So, expecting your family to maybe be more mature or more healed or more evolved than they are, is also, just on you. Are you believing that because they're your family, they're going to necessarily be more gracious or more compassionate or more, high vibing or more evolved than the average, or people that you don't know so well? I don't know. Maybe you had a view of your family that was a little bit more than they were actually capable to handle. So not taking it personally, realizing that everyone's got their traumas, everyone's got their junk, everyone's got their stuff, your family included, and when you trigger that stuff, it gets projected onto you. So being able to take a step back, not take it upon yourself, not react, not expect your family to be better than they're ready to be, or expect them to be able to handle more than they can handle, is the first thing and second thing. And then the third thing is give it space, give it time. Because at this point, the arguing and the convincing back and forth is not going to be the thing that heals it, right? At this point, you all need grace and you all need truth and time. And when you show your family, not tell your family, not convince or argue with your family, when you show your family what the truth is by who you are, by how you're acting, how you're handling the situation, and what you're going to do with your life and the way you conduct your life when you remove yourself from that situation, is what's going to convince your family. That's what's going to prove to your family who was telling the truth or who was right or this and that, if there's any of that, right and wrongness involved. But remembering that this is a wound that your family is going to carry too. That day will come, and the truth always comes out, but that day will come when your family is going to be faced with the realization that, oh my gosh, I have betrayed my family member so that I could believe the lie that I wanted to believe. And they're going to have a feeling of regret. They're going to have a feeling of guilt. They're going to have a feeling of hurt, realizing what they did and realizing their weakness in having made that decision. At that point, you're going to need to extend grace to them, if you want that relationship to continue. And you don't have to. You don't have to have that tie to your family. If it's not a healthy one, if it's not one that is serving you, if it's not one that you feel that you want to take responsibility for the rest of your life. Biology doesn't dictate who you don't have in your life. It's great to have family. It's great to have great relationships with your family. But if your family is not great and is pretty disruptive and destructive to your life, it's okay to like not have a relationship with them and not feel guilty and not feel responsible for them. But if you do want to repair that relationship after they've made such an egregious, huge mistake by taking the side of your ex or believing your ex's lies, then you're going to need to extend a lot of compassion and grace and patience with them, just in the acceptance that, hey, you weren't ready. You weren't prepared to handle that. You were triggered. You were traumatized by my divorce situation. You couldn't tell up from down, right from wrong, truth from lie. We're all short-sighted sometimes. We're all blinded sometimes, but you were in a place where you couldn't do that. And just being in the acceptance of that. Not saying that it's okay or that you weren't hurt by it. Not saying that it was nothing, because it's not nothing. It's really painful. It's really awful. But you need to make the decision if that's, something that you're willing to extend to them and capable of extending to them to repair that relationship, is the grace and the compassion that they're going to need to come back to you with humility and speak the truth again. Like, hey, I picked the wrong side. I was blinded. I was deceived. But, time has shown that I was wrong. Maybe they'll say those words to you one day. Hopefully they will say those words to you. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll be too bashful, but they'll still want to come back regardless. Family relationships take a lot of grace. They take courage. They take patience. And, sometimes we just have to accept people for where they are and how far they can see. And obviously you've got a lot more insight into your marriage and your relationship and your experience than they ever did. And they may never understand what happened. They may never understand why the marriage disintegrated or who did what, or, and it's okay. They don't have to. They don't need to, but, don't let their beliefs or limitations affect how you see yourself and who you are. When you're really strong, you can take that position of grace, back off, give it space. Don't react. Don't take those beliefs personally. Don't take their siding personally. Just give it space, give it time. Do your thing. Prove yourself to be the person of integrity and the person of high consciousness that you are. And then wait for them to come to a realization. And then you are there with grace. You're there with grace and compassion and truth. So that's really all you can do. These are complex relationship situations, and it takes a lot to keep them going in a graceful way when those kinds of pains have happened. But you can do it. It's important that you don't let the situation decline or degrade into that low vibrational, tit for tat bickering place. It's really important that you just don't engage in that. You can lose the energy that you need to rebirth yourself and to rebuild your life. Don't lose it there. Don't use it there, If it's something that is causing a lot of strife in your life, back off, back away, conserve yourself. You need to conserve yourself because this is a focused mission. You are recreating the new chapter of your life, the new evolution of yourself, and it's going to take all of that precious energy and attention from you. So focus it there, focus it forward, focus it on building, focus it on, cutting out the noise. And just growing yourself, just building yourself, and then the rest will settle. The dust will settle, the circus will settle, if you focus yourself. So I send you lots of love. I know it's not easy. I've been there. I know it's not easy, but your time will come. Just be patient. It takes a while for a seed to become a tree, Just keep watering it. Okay, bye.